Hi, this is Dave Portfleet from the web team. Today we're going to talk about CMS 4. First thing I want to say is don't worry. Everything is backed up and you can't delete anything in CMS 4. If you do delete it, there's always a way to recover it, and I'll show you how to do that later. So I don't want you to worry, and I want you to play around, click around, explore CMS 4 as much as you want. You can't break anything. Also, nothing gets upgraded automatically. Your CMS 3 site will remain the same until you request for a CMS 4 site. At that time, we'll create a test CMS 4 site where you can play around as much as you'd like. And then one day when you're ready, you just contact the web team and tell them that you're ready to replace your CMS 3 site with your test version of your CMS 4 site, and we'll pull the switch. So why the new version of the CMS? One of the main reasons we created CMS 4 was for mobile friendliness. Now CMS 3 is viewable on mobile devices, but it could definitely be more usable. If you pull up any of your current CMS 3 sites, you'll see that you need to pinch and zoom and pan around to really use the site. And in CMS 4 we're using something called responsive design. So the layout of the site scales and shifts based on the screen size of the device. This ensures it looks great on all size screens, so mobile phones, tablets, and even desktops. We got a lot of feedback over the years in CMS 3 through phone calls, emails. We even had a wish list seminar on what you wanted to see in CMS 4. And we had an 88 item point list, and we've done 85 of these items, and 3 of them are to come. And I'll talk about those a little bit later. So what was some of the things on that list? As I mentioned before, mobile friendliness. There's now no image size upload limits. So whenever you got that warning saying that your image had to be less than 60 kilobytes, you don't have to worry about that now. You can upload a very large image and we'll automatically resize it. You can also upload multiple files at once. You can put modules on any page. And you could put multiple instances of a module on the same page. So if you wanted 2 Twitter feeds or 2 event feeds on the same page, you can do that. We've also created page templates. So in CMS 3, every time you created a new content item, you're presented with this big white blank page. And some felt that was a little overwhelming. So we have templates to choose from to start you off. All the events have RSVP functionality, and you can collect credit card payments on those events as well. The other thing we worked on were custom headers. This allows you to put a header on any page of your site. You can put on multiple headers, have slideshows, captions on those headers. So headers are really customizable. Just to name a few of the features, but we'll get into it a little bit more. So let's get started. We are moving sites from CMS 3 to CMS 4 on a first come, first served basis. So if you'd like to request your site be upgraded to CMS 4, just visit gvsu.edu/webteam, and here under the requests menu item, there's CMS 4 upgrade. It'll ask you to log in, and once you log in, you'll be able to choose the sites that you have access to. So go ahead and pick one of the sites that you would like upgraded to CMS 4. By default, we import all of your content, files, and navigation. Here's the caveat. It's not a perfect process. CMS 3, the underlying framework, is not mobile friendly. In CMS 4, the underlying framework is mobile friendly. So when we move this content over, some pages may not look so great, especially if you use a lot of tables. Tables don't work on mobile devices very well. So when we move this content over, depending on how it was laid out in CMS 3, it may look fine, but it may need a little love. The other option is to start with a blank CMS 4 site. Some folks are opting for this just as a way to start fresh and start with a clean site and kind of organize everything from scratch. And then in the comments area, we ask that you tell us about any special functionality on your site that the web team's created that you need moved over. Again, CMS 3 and 4 are very different. So the web team actually needs to touch any special functionality that we've created. We have to modify it so it works with CMS4. And the example I show here is the alumni site. This is actually the old alumni site. They're in CMS4 now. But if you scroll down here on the left-hand side in their admin area, they have these site functions that we've created and extra admin that we've created. They have quite a bit. So we asked that, and we ask you as well, to let us know if you don't need any of these items moved over. This will save us time, it'll save you time, and it'll get you over to CMS4 a little bit faster. So if you could just let us know in this comments area, that would be great. And some sites won't have any of that special functionality. Okay, let's jump into CMS4. Here I'm at www.test.gvsu.edu/cms4/admin. This is where you're going to log in when your site is on the testing server. When you first log in, you're going to see a list of all the CMS sites you have access to. In my case, I have quite a few. Some folks might just see one or two sites. You can do a search. If you have a big long list, you'll be able to search in this box up here. So we're going to use the CMS4 demo site. And once I click that, I come to this dashboard page. We see three boxes. The first one says Content Age. This is our way of trying to help you understand of any items on your site that might be outdated. So we sort these by older than 60 days, older than 6 months, or older than a year. Old content is really, really frustrating for visitors on the site. If they see tuition from 2006 or the email address of a faculty member that doesn't work here anymore, it just gets really frustrating, and a lot of people do just give up. So this is just a quick glance at some of the items that might be older on your site. And if you click on any of these, it'll bring you to those items. Over here is problem reports. Now this is something new in CMS4. If we click this view site here in the top right, this will do a preview of what the site will look like. Here's our demo site, but I wanted to show you in the very bottom right hand corner is a new link. It says report a problem with this page. This allows visitors to report a problem. If they see a spelling error or a broken link or the phone number's not working, they can click this and they'll be brought to a very simple form where they can fill out their name, email, and explain what's wrong with the page or what they're having problems with. And then once they submit that, an email will go to the main site administrator of the CMS site, and also in this CMS dashboard area, you'll see that I have one outstanding problem report, and I've answered one already too. So we just have to click on that one outstanding, and we can see the list of what was submitted. This was on the home page. Somebody submitted something. So if I click the URL, I'll actually be able to see a little preview of it. But if I go back, I can click Edit, and I'll be able to see what the person submitted. So here we see Galileo had a problem with the home page. He describes the problem. We have captured Galileo's IP address. This might be helpful for you if you want to know if they're on campus or off campus. This is helpful for the web team too if it's a problem you can't address. We would like to see this information. We'd also like to know what browser and what version they're using. This person was using Chrome version 30. So this is very helpful for troubleshooting some types of errors on the website. So down below that information, there's this process report notes area. And if it's just a simple spelling error, you can say spelling error corrected, just like that, and you can hit mark as fixed. Optionally, if you want to send this note back to the user, you can check this box, and the note will be sent back to the person that reported the problem. We didn't want to build an email messaging system here, so this is a very simple, just sending them an email letting them know it's fixed. If you need more communication with the person, we suggest just contacting them directly with their email address. I'm going to jump back to the CMS4 dashboard page. So we have content, problem reports, and then below that, right now we're just featuring CMS help. Now CMS help has changed quite a bit in CMS4. You can access it by clicking this link over here on the left, CMS help. And you'll notice this blue box right at the top. If you want to interact with any of these questions and answers, you'll have to log on to the live server. Right now we're on the test server, so we could click that if we wanted to. I'll just do it right now. We'll go to the live server and I'll log back in. And now we can interact with the help. About CMS4 is anyone can ask a question and anyone can answer a question. So other administrators that may have had the same problem that you've had can answer your question, or the web team monitors this as well. And they can jump in at any time and answer any of these questions. That's pretty easy. Just search for any keywords or a complete question. How do I add a navigation item? And there we go. Somebody asked, how do I add a navigation item to my site? So we can click that. And we see that somebody's asked how to do it, and somebody has answered how to do it. Step-by-step instructions. This is great. So now I know, if I read through this, how to add navigation. Let me jump back to the CMS help area. I'm going to click on a different question a second and show you that this one has, was this answer helpful to you? So you can thumb up or thumb down. This is a way of a voting system, helping other administrators know that this answer was better than another answer. So you can actually thumb up, and this will move this answer up in the hierarchy on the site. So when people search for the answer, this one will come up first. You also see that there's a web team confirmed. I have the button. This means that the web team can read this answer, and if we think it's a great answer, we can just click that button and it highlights the whole question in blue, letting you know that the web team's read it and we think it's an awesome answer. Alright, so I'm going to close this because I'm on the live server and go back to my test site. And we've covered everything on this dashboard page, so we'll move right on just down the left-hand side here. Next item up is navigation. Navigation really hasn't changed too much from CMS3 as far as creating navigation items. It's a very similar process. The one thing that a big change is the navigation can be either horizontal or vertical. And you'll see right under the word navigation, the title, that right now it's a horizontal navigation. And if we preview the site, we can see that I have a navigation going across the top. If I wanted to change that to a vertical navigation, I could click this word horizontal. This is also found under site settings, which is on the left here under more, just settings right there. But we can click this word horizontal and it'll bring me right to the site settings area, and I can choose vertical. If I choose that and I hit submit and preview the site, you'll see that the navigation is now vertical on the left hand side. Jump back and change that back to horizontal navigation. You'll see here this will probably be the most challenging part for CMS4 for many sites at Grand Valley. We're actually limiting the number of navigation items. Reasons for this. One, a horizontal navigation, we only have so much real estate on the screen to put menu items. So if I save this and preview it again, you'll see I really am just going to run out of space if I keep adding navigation items. So that's why we have some sub-navigation items here. The other reason we're limiting navigation, so horizontal we're limited to 7 items and vertical we're limited to 9 items. The big reason we're limiting this is we've done a lot of usability testing and we found that people just get really frustrated when there's more than 9 items. I could bring up a couple sites here at Grand Valley, but I won't. There's many sites that have 20, 30 menu items, and they're just not usable. People just give up. They won't use the menu structure at all. They'll just go right to the search box and start searching for what they need to find on the site because it's just too hard to use the menu. If you feel like this is going to pose too much of a challenge for your area, I encourage you to give me a call, Dave Portfleet, or anybody on the web team, and we'd be happy to sit down with you and help you organize the structure of your site. There's several exercises we can do, one of them being a card sort. Actually, you could do this too. We write down everything on a little index card, so we write down every navigation item on an index card, throw all those index cards onto a table, and then we start organizing them into piles. Better yet, sometimes we have somebody that doesn't know your site organize those into piles, and then we ask them what those piles should be labeled. And then that's the name of your navigation item. This works really well. It also helps you understand if you're using any internal jargon or acronyms that people might not know outside the university. It's really eye-opening, and there might just be a handful of navigation items you just don't need anymore. Maybe they don't get a lot of traffic, or they can be linked to from another area. So there's lots of things we can do to help you organize the navigation items. We just think this is going to be great for users. It's going to make all the pages much more usable. Additionally, I should say that by limiting it to a number of 9 main navigation items, we look through all the sites here at Grand Valley, and that accommodates over 85% of the sites we're already using 9 or less items. So there's just a few outliers there that will need some help organizing their content. Alright, so we're going to jump back to navigation here on the left. Like I said, very similar from CMS3. Click New Item. If you have a main navigation item, you can add subnav to it very easily. Once you create an item, you can have that be a main content item with sub-navigation, and then you get a content drop-down. This is all the pages I've created. I can link to any one of those or redirect to a new website or a file in my file manager, or the site index, or contact us, or any of the site extras or modules that we've created. It's very similar to CMS3. There shouldn't be too much of a learning curve there. So let's jump to content real quick. This is another big area that's changed in CMS4. As I said before, we have some site templates that we've created, but the way that you create a content page has changed very much. Let's just click New Content and we'll see what I'm talking about here. Like I said, these templates are at the top. We can start from a pre-existing one. If I want something that's similar, like an image on the right or left or something with a video, I can start off with one of these templates and then edit the content as I see fit. But in this case, I'm just going to start out with a blank template. Oh, I should mention, you can also clone existing content. So if I've created a page, let's say my page, Dave Portfleet, I really like the layout and I want to keep copying this layout over and over so all my pages look consistent, I can actually just choose that and say clone page, and I'll be able to start with a clone of that page, so I'll have my layout all ready. But in this case, we're going to start with a blank template. So here you'll see the biggest change. The new layout is on a grid system with 3 columns. We hope this makes building pages much more easy. Here's what you do. You just grab a piece of content from the right, this toolbar on the right, and you drag it to an area on the page. If I want to insert a new row, I just click this, and I can put in a paragraph, I can put in an image, and then once I drop those on the page, I can actually move them around. So if I want to move the image over here, and this paragraph, if I want to make this paragraph a little bit wider, I can just widen it like that. These are all red right now because they're missing content, so I can just double click on them or click the edit icon and I can create a heading and some content here. I can add a heading to this content, so it would be more like a subheading. You can see how that plays out if I hit Save Changes. And then I can upload an image. I can put a heading on that image if I'd like. I just click this to browse all the images that I've uploaded to the file manager area. Just pick this one and click insert. Title or alternative text is required. This is for ADA compliance, so folks visiting the site with a screen reader, it actually reads out loud what they cannot see on the screen, so words, titles, and in this case it'll read the description of the image. I can link that image to another page if I'd like, have that open in a new tab. I can add a caption to the photo as well. In this case I'm just going to hit save so we can see I'm starting to build a page here. Let's hit publish. Let's put a title on it first. And then let's hit publish. So now I have a new content item in my list here. And if I hit preview, I can take a look at what this is looking like. So there's some settings here we can change. One of them is this is a test. This is what I called the content item. By default, we take the title of the content item and put it on the page. You can turn that off if you'd like. I also can turn off these headers if I just want headers on my home page and I don't want these displayed on any of my internal pages. I can turn those off as well. And those are all in the settings area. So let's close this. And I'm going to jump over to more and then settings. And if I scroll down, choose do not show titles on content pages and submit here just so we can see what's happening. If I go back to content and preview that item, you'll see that initial content title is gone. And if I want to turn off the heading, I can just jump back into this page. And here's a nice trick. If you want to quickly go to editing this page instead of going back to CMS admin and logging in, or sometimes folks forget how to log in, you can just click this little lifesaver icon. And once you click that, it'll bring you right to that content page and you'll be able to begin editing it. Now if you haven't logged in a while, it will ask you to log in before you can go right to the page, but in this case I'm already logged in, so I can just start editing the page immediately. And I want to turn off these headers. I'm not a fan of these. So that's under more options. There's a lot of stuff under more options. Meta description, this is the description that will be used in search engines. I would encourage you to put in a 1 or 2 sentence description of what this page is. This is what shows up in Google and other search engines. The next option is URL redirect. If you were to move this page completely to somewhere else, in CMS3 there is no way to redirect folks from an old CMS3 page that you maybe deleted or changed the content on to the new page. In this case you can. You just plug in the URL. This will override everything. So if there's anything in this URL box, when somebody comes to this page, it'll redirect to whatever you plug in here. You can activate and expire this content item just like in CMS3. There's new permission levels. I'll get into this a little bit more, but what's great about permission and protected access is that in CMS3 you could protect files, and in CMS4 you can protect entire areas of your site. So that means web pages, web content, and files. So you could actually build a little area of your site that was only accessible to a certain people. Next down is tags. I'll go into that more detail in just a little bit, but this is a way of organizing all the content on your site. If you've used Gmail with the tags in Gmail, it's a very similar concept. You can just tag things and quickly search for them. So down here is where I can control the headers. Right now it says show all header items. That means the ones that are showing on the home page are going to show on this content item as well. I want to you can do one of two things. You can select a specific header if you'd like. So if maybe this page is about the engineering building, so I just want a picture of that. I don't want that slideshow of all these other photos. Or I can just say don't show a header at all on this page. If I hit submit, then we can come down here and preview this one more time, and the header is gone. So at the beginning I said, don't worry, you can't delete anything that can't be recovered. Let's do that real quick. Let's go into this page and edit it, and I'm just going to delete stuff. I'm going to delete this whole row, and I'm going to delete this row, and I'm going to hit publish. So now if I go preview the page, you'll see it's a blank page. Oh my god, what happened? Don't worry, you can always recover it. So let's go back into this by clicking the lifesaver. You'll see, actually you need to click content from the left because we ran in directly into this item, but if I go back to content and scroll down to my page, so right next to the preview icon is this light blue icon called view history, and if I click that, you'll see every version of this page that ever existed. So anytime anybody's ever edited it, we save that every time. So we've only updated it 3 times here, but you can imagine this could go back quite a ways. So if we want to restore it, you just click preview to make sure it's the one that you want to restore. So if I click preview, I can see, yep, this is what it used to look like and I want this back. So I just click restore. And it says, are you sure? Click OK, and I got all my content back. So again, we save every version of every edit. So don't worry, please play around and explore CMS4. So let's jump back into editing this page one more time. Some of the other content we can create, we can drag and drop a video. And if you just click one, actually it adds a new row automatically and drops it in there. You can also drag items to the insert row section, and it'll create a new row with that content. I'm just going to delete that real quick. But videos are really nice. If you drop a video in there and you go to edit it, you simply just have to put the YouTube URL and hit save changes, and it will automatically load or embed the video right in your page. Some of the other content you can do is a horizontal line. You can do anchors. That's if you have links up at the top of your page and you want it to anchor or scroll down to the bottom of your page. You can put in a Twitter module or feed right on your site, right in the content. And the last two I'm going to get into more detail a little bit later. We can talk about the HTML chunk. We're calling these all chunks, by the way. So if we drop this on the page, a lot of folks want to do a little bit more advanced HTML and CSS work, and they can with the HTML module. So if we click edit, it's simply a text area that's waiting for you to plug in HTML. You can actually plug in CSS, HTML, and JavaScript here. So if you want to do some more advanced stuff in the CMS, this is how you do it. The last one is modules, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. This is where things like events, news, popular pages, those things from CMS3 are going to be here. But I'm going to show you how to access that in just a minute. So again, that's the biggest difference in CMS4 is this content editing area. And the reason why it's in 3-column grid like this is so it is mobile friendly. So if we take a look at the site, if I hit view site, it pulls up this, and you can get an idea of what it's going to look like on phones and tablets by simply just changing the size of your browser. So if I start to make it a little bit more narrow here, you'll see things start to shift around. So let's take a look at the very top as I do this. So this is probably going to be more of a tablet view. The first thing you'll notice is the horizontal navigation has collapsed down into this icon here. This makes it very easy on mobile devices, so the menu is right up at the top. You tap it once and you have access to every page on your site, including the submenus. So this icon will show up on tablets and phones. Now the caption for the header photo, that was covering too much real estate, so we've actually dropped that down to kind of a footer on the image. You can still tap to get through all the images. But down below you'll see the content started to shift. So we had photos on the left and content on the right. You'll see the photos get a little bit larger, and things are going to look a little bit big on the desktop here because we're emulating kind of what it's going to look like on a mobile device. But anyway, the images got bigger and the content shifted down below, just simply because we're running out of space on the right hand side. So image on top, content on bottom, and if we continue to make this a little bit smaller, you'll see it still looks great on a phone. Everything is resizing, so even on a very small screen, everything's going to still look great. Idea behind responsive design. Jump back into the editor or the CMS admin area. Next up is File Manager. This works very much the same as CMS3. The only difference is, again, no file size limits. So, well, I should say no image file size limits. You can upload any image size, probably up to about 10 or 20 megs. At that point, there might be a timeout issue, either with your browser or on the server. So be careful if the images are really big, but we think it'll accommodate almost all images off of cameras. So we can just click upload, and again, this you can upload multiple files at once. We have 5 here, just because we're worried about that timeout again. If you try and upload 10 or 20 or 30 very large images, there might be a timeout issue where it's gonna just crap out in the middle and you're gonna lose something. So 5 at a time. I will take note of the attention red box at the top. I just want to remind everybody not to upload anything that's FERPA or HIPAA protected. And also we have a link there to disability support resources about how to make documents accessible. That's making them ADA compliant. So the options down below, the file upload is automatically compress my images. You can just leave that checkbox on, and automatically resize my images. Just leave that on unless for some reason you have an image you want that's an exact pixel width. You can take both those off and we won't touch the image. It'll upload as you intended it. So the permission thing popped up again here. So everyone can view this file that I'm uploading, or you can protect it. We'll talk about how to set up different permission levels in a second. But if I were to click protected access, you'll see I can say, oh, I only want faculty and staff to access this document, or students. Or in this case, I've created a couple special permission levels, so Dan can only see this document, or Joe can only see this document, and I'll go into detail on that. Again, the tags popped up. I'll get into that. And then I can click upload, and those files go into my file manager. So some sites have lots and lots of files, so documents, images, all sorts of stuff. You can filter these, one, by just searching for anything in the name of the file. So if I search for Dave, it pops right up. If I clear that out, you also can search by file types. Looks like I only have images uploaded right now, but if I had documents, I'd be able to search by documents or any other type that I've uploaded. Quickly filter them here and hit filter, and it'll just show me images. So the last one is tags here. Let's get into this. Let's see how this works. So I have several things that are tagged. So this one's tagged buildings, this one's tagged staff. To do that, you're going to come down over to the More option on the left-hand side and go to Tags. And here you can create any new tag you'd like. Let's say you're uploading a lot of images of landscape around Grand Valley. We can create a new tag called Landscape. So now I have that at my disposal. I can tag anything landscape. So I can tag photos, or I can tag content area, or I can tag Word documents. So if we go back to content real quick, maybe I have a page about landscaping, and I can tag that. So let's say we want to tag this one called cloned page with the word landscape. I just click edit, and then under more options you'll see landscape shows up, and I can hit submit or publish, and now that is tagged landscape, and I can go to my file manager, and let's say either I have photos that are already uploaded I want to tag, or while you're uploading it you can tag it landscape as well. But let's find one that doesn't have a tag, and let's tag this one with the tag landscape as well. And then you'll see that one is now tagged landscape. So again, I can quickly search and just filter out all the other stuff and just see things with that tag. Same on content. If I come over to content, I can just drop this down to tags and say, okay, just show me the content items I've tagged buildings. We're hoping this is a quick and easy way to organize all the content on your site. We had folders before, but they're a little bit cumbersome. We're hoping tags will accommodate more needs than what folders could do. The next one down on the left-hand side is headers. I went into this a little bit, but you'll see if you add a new header, there's a bunch in here already, but if we add a new one, you choose the file, and images must be exactly 979 pixels wide by 315 pixels tall. You'll need a photo editing software, or you can use something like Photoshop.com or PicResize.com. There's lots of free resources out there on cropping and resizing images. But in this case, we're just going to choose a file. Once I click that, I just have to find it on my hard drive. Let's try this one. I can add a title for this header, and this would be the description that shows over top of the photo. And I can choose if I want that to link to a content item. I can also change it if it opens in a new tab or not. And then I can position that caption if it's off to the right or off to the left. Let's plug something in here just so we can see it. You can also link text in the caption if you'd like to another page. And finally, we can say if this is the default header that will show on all content pages, or if I only ever want this to show up on a specific page, I can choose this option. And again, you can start and end these dates, or this banner, from showing up on your page on any date you'd like. So you can define the date and time. This is great for promotion or spotlights. We use this on the Grand Valley homepage all the time. So if there's an upcoming event, we make a nice banner for it, or just upload a photo of the event and with a little blurb about what's coming up. And we started on a certain date, and we make it fall off on the day of the event or after the event. This is also great for spotlights if you want to feature something in your area, or a faculty member or a student, and you can activate the date and expire the banner anytime you'd like. This is a great way to keep content on your page fresh. We change the banners quite often on the Grand Valley homepage, and this is the exact same functionality we have. So you can keep that updated. You can schedule it out for several days, or just have a new pool of images every couple weeks or every month. Again, just a great way to keep fresh content on your site, and a great area for promotion. A lot of folks want to use banner ads, or get frustrated when there's only so many navigation items. Sometimes you can accomplish promoting an item or talking about an event or whatever information you like. You can accomplish that through a header instead of a whole separate navigation item or banner ad. So let's click submit here. Oops, I'm going to turn these dates off. Hit submit, and that one should add to the list. There it is at the bottom. This is a test. Headers in rotation with all the other headers. Next on the list under headers is short URLs. This is a great tool for making shorter URLs, but not only that, tracking URLs. So some of the pages on your site, or even in your file manager, if you want to link to those files directly, they're kind of big, long, ugly URLs. So let's take a look. If I go to content and I take a look at some of these page titles, here's one. This is really long. If I preview this, you'll see I have this big, long link to give out to people, and maybe I'll put that in a newsletter or an email or if I wanted to put it like on a flyer or something that's not very easy to remember. So you can actually shorten this, and we'll do that with short URL. So if I click that, I just click add short URL, and I can title it anything I want. This is just for my reference. I'll call it CMS demo test. And then what do I want that to link to? I'm going to pick this content item with this really long title. And now I can call it whatever I'd like. So I have gvsu.edu/cms4demo. That's my department name or my department URL. And then I can add anything to the back end of that. So I'm going to just call this, I don't know, let's just call it test. And then I hit submit. So now I have a new one called CMS demo, again, just for my reference. But if I were to go to our site, let me do a preview here. And I have gvsu.edu/cms4demo, and if I just put the word test at the end and hit enter, it redirects to that really long title page. So this is a nice way of shortening URLs and being able to put them on promotional materials and making them a little bit easier to remember or just a little prettier. The bigger bonus though is if we go back and we look at the stats for any of these, I'll look at this one called Dave. We can see how many unique clicks we got, how many total clicks, when I created it, links or clicks in the past 24 hours, clicks in the past 30 days, and then I can see referrer details. These graphs are a little bit boring because this one only got 4 clicks, but referrer details is really interesting. You can see where people are coming from. So if they came from Google or Facebook or Twitter, all that will be listed here. So you can kind of get an idea of how successful, where you're promoting this link, and maybe if you're getting more clicks from Facebook, maybe that's a better way to go for advertising. I don't know, just gives you a good idea of where folks are coming from. Short URL. CMS help we talked about. Again, anybody can ask a question, anybody can answer a question. We'll click back here. And then under the more menu item, we have access log. This keeps track of everything that's ever happened on your site. So it shows that I logged in, it shows that I added a short URL just a minute ago, I changed a content page, I added a header, I edited an image. It just keeps everything forever and ever. So you can always go back and see what was going on if a page got messed up or you wanted to change it. You can see what the history was on that. Next one down is administrators. This works very similar to CMS3. If we want to add a new administrator, just click this button. And we just search by their name, so it's a little bit easier. And I click search, and there's Ben. He pops up in my list. I just put a check next to his name, hit continue, and then I can choose all different kinds of permissions to give Ben. Maybe I just let him manage navigation items, and he can edit the site settings, and that's it. Or maybe I want to give him full site administrator access. In that case, I would just click this button. Warns you that you're giving full permission, and then it checks everything. And then once I hit submit, Ben now has full access to do everything on the site. Next up is analytics request. There used to be some analytics here in the CMS, but it's a bit of a challenge for the web team to keep up to date with Google and how they shared information with us through Google Analytics. So now we're just giving you access directly to the University Google Analytics account, and you can dive as deep as you'd like on stats. But to give you access to that account, we need a valid Gmail email address. And if you plug it in here, I'll get an email, and then I'll give you access, and I'll shoot you an email, and in that email it'll tell you a little bit how to use Google Analytics, but mainly just filter down to just your site's statistics. Because once you log in, you'll see the statistics for the entire university, and you need to filter that down, and I'll show you how. Below analytics request is contacts. You can add multiple contacts, addresses, email addresses, hours, social media. The more you add, I'll show you where that shows up on the site. If I click view site, those all start showing up down here in the footer. So there's my contact information and some social media, but you could have multiple contacts, multiple addresses if you are on multiple campuses with multiple phone numbers or hours. All that stuff starts showing up down here. Up is protected access. We touched base on this a little bit. By default, you'll get a permission level of all faculty and all staff, but we can create custom access levels. So to do that, I just click New Protected Access, and I can title this anything I'd like. This is again just for my reference. So let's say maybe CMS class, and I can say I can check all students or all faculty. I can plug in custom username and password. So if I wanted to create a single username and password and give that out to everybody, I could do that here. Just say, okay, log in with username Dave and password 123. Or I can say only specific GVSU network logins have access to this, and I can start entering them here, just separated by a comma. And that's it. So add as many as you'd like, separated by a comma, and hit submit. And if I do that, my new permission level called CMS class is only accessible by Dave and Ben. But you can add more network IDs if you'd like. Protect both files and content areas of your site. So the next one down is site settings. Here you'll see the title of your site. So if I hit preview real quick, this right here. The next is the description. Again, this is used for search engines, so definitely put in a sentence or two describing what your site's all about. The Contact Us, this is what shows up above the Contact Us form. So we can click this link here and get a preview of what that's going to look like. Just like CMS3, we have this Contact Us form, but in CMS4 you're able to control the text above that by plugging it in right here. Below that is navigation type. We talked about that, horizontal or vertical. Next up is content titles. We talked about that as well. You can hide them or show them on each page. Header text size, we have 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. That controls actually what shows up on top of the header. So if we go back to our site, that is this text right here. You can change the size of it a little bit smaller and a little bit bigger. We saw that some people were putting in quite a bit of text in there and it was just getting cut off at the bottom. So if you want to make it a little bit smaller, you can do that right here. And then you can also control the header speed. We default it to about 7.5 seconds, but if you think that's too fast or slow, you can adjust the speed right here. We also went over tags, which is the next one down on the left. So that leaves modules. If we want to manage modules, just click that from the left. Now, as I said before, this is events or photo galleries or news items. All those things from CMS3 have moved over to CMS4. They work a little bit differently, but we're hoping a little bit better. So you can click New Module, and you get a drop down here of all the modules that are available. We have a couple new ones, but if we wanted to add, let's say, a news feed, or a news, I should say, about your site, this is news items that you'd enter and describe what's going on in your area. And you don't have to name it news. You could call it what's happening or something like that. So this word news wouldn't show up. You could title it whatever you'd like. That's for all the modules. You can have an alias title for any one of them. So I'm going to hit submit. And I can start adding stories to my news. So I'm not going to get into the details of all these modules, but if you use them, it's going to be the same that how you used it in CMS3. But the more exciting part is if we go back to content and we edit one of these pages. So before, those modules would only show up on the home page of your site. Now you can put them on any page of your site. So let's click the About Us. Let's edit that. And you'll see that I actually dropped some modules in here already. So this one has the news module off to the right. This one has photos as well. But if I want to put more modules on this page, I just click this button from here. And these are all the modules that I've just enabled or ever enabled. And you can click whatever one you want. I call this one What's Happening. And there it is. It drops on the page. Now the actual content of the module won't come into this area, this editable area. We're just giving you a representation of what that will look like, or I guess the space it will fill up. So you'll see there's a photo gallery here, but we're just saying thumbnail, thumbnail, thumbnail. And the news module, we're taking up about this much space. And each of these, after you drop them onto the page, they all have settings of their own. So if I click Edit on this module, I can decide not to show that heading. I can say I want to only show 3 stories instead of 5. I can show a little short description or an abstract about the news story. And I can display images with each news story if I'd like. Or I can turn those off. So I'm going to hit Save Changes. So again, we can have multiple modules on one page. They don't have to just be on the home page. You can name them whatever you want, and you can control the settings for each module. So I covered a lot in a very short amount of time. We went into more detail on every single one of these sections in CMS Help. So I would encourage you to look through that, or at least search through if you have a question. We are adding and answering questions all the time. Other administrators are asking questions, and we're answering them as soon as we can, or other administrators are answering as well. So this is a great spot, a great resource to find more detailed information about any of the sections I went over just now. I just want to remind you, if you do want to request to get upgraded to CMS 4, go to the web team site, which was www.gvsu.edu/webteam. And it's right under here, under requests, CMS 4 upgrade. I mentioned that we did 85 of those 88 items that were on the wish list. 3 of them are to come. The 3 that we're still working on are a simple form builder. So you can actually create your own forms. Very simple forms, but you know, like a registration form, maybe just ask for name, email, and phone number, and if you're coming to an event or something like that. We'll give you the ability to build your own form. We're also creating a button generator, so you can create your own graphical buttons for the website. We get asked that quite a bit. And finally, we're going to work on some areas in the admin where, let me pull that up real quick. So when you're editing a page, we know that some sites have multiple administrators, and we wanted to add the ability to communicate in the CMS admin. So we're talking about adding maybe a little notes area somewhere. So as an administrator, I can say, hey Ben, I made this change. Or even for myself, I can say just a reminder, changed the spelling or date for this reason. So when I come back to this content item, I can either see I left a message or Ben left a message, letting each other know what's going on this page. So thanks for watching. If you got any questions, again, check the CMS help and give the web team a call if you need help with any of this. Thanks again for your time.